Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, what's the
The
dark
dark
horse in
one?
Cleveland?
Look at your phone.
You never answered. Like you said, the darkness
No,
and clear.
no, I sent it to him so he could bring it up.
Well, I do want to talk about Cleveland. I want to
Okay.
talk about the quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, look, they interviewed Shedeur today, right? He gave a very good interview. The boy is poised. The boy know how to speak. Now, this is what's going on in Cleveland that I don't like. Shedeur, they not letting him work out with the number ones, right? But he taking the number twos and threes against the number one defense. I mean, ain't that kind of like them saying, "Hey, yeah, that boy can drive. He's a real good driver. Let's get him out there on that wet track, man, with a flat tire." Ain't that the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, why I gotta take the number twos and threes against the ones?
Yeah, but
That's
some
how it
injury
always is.
news. But
Well, hold
some
on.
injury news. We got some injury news that happened.
Hold on though, we gotta let's look at these. Let's look at what's going on with the completions for each QB. Let's take a look. Because of course, you know, I done pulled up the stats. Plus, I've been watching 92.3. Shout out to those dudes in Cleveland. They got a fantastic channel, man, and they real entertaining. All right, Flacco. Let's start with Flacco. Flacco, 92 passes attempts. He completed 54. That's ugly. It ain't bad for Flacco.
That's fluke.
It ain't bad for
That's
Flacco.
fluke.
The man 600 years old. We gonna let him have that. Gabriel, 113 attempts, 62, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Not to mention Flacco had 3 touchdowns, no picks. All right. Pickett, 34 attempts, 23 completions, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Let's go to Sanders. He had 7 attempts, 49 completions, 6 touchdowns, no picks. Sanders is running the number 2 and number 3 offense against the number 1s on defense. He got 6 touchdowns, no picks. Everybody else running with the ones. You see the numbers. Let me hear something, fellas. Talk to me.
Those numbers mean absolutely nothing out of
They got to
context.
mean something.
They mean absolutely
They
nothing.
no. They do mean something.
Hey,
Them people not throwing the
go
football
ahead.
around. Hold on, hold. They're not calculating this because it don't mean nothing. That's the case. We can go in the backyard and toss the ball around.
I give you a prime example. Brock Purdy. Last year when Trey was there, the year that Trey and all them was there, he was throwing 5 picks in practice, like every day, and they just downplay. They say this when you.
Man,
Yeah, no, let me
go
finish.
go somewhere else.
Let me finish.
OJ,
They said he was throwing
OJ,
5.
go somewhere else,
they was
man.
even.
You knew this was
No, I'm
coming.
just saying.
I knew it, man. I knew it.
You opened the door for
Five,
this.
this man. No, but this is sports me. See what I'm trying to get over to. The sports media was saying he want good, he want this, he want that because he was throwing picks in practice. And Cal said this practice is where you learn, anticipation. And if you getting picks, that means you gotta get better at.
Was they
knowing when the
saying
ball
Brock
need to
Purdy
be in
footwork
placement
was
and stuff.
bad? What was the news?
Oh, they were talking.
Stations?
They were talking. So they were talking trash about it. Then Trey Lance was in the same situation Shedeur was in. He was doing great in practice, but they ended up trading him, and he wasn't getting all the first team reps too. So it's just like it's who they want. Is what media is what the media wants to have and make their own narrative. Like, and there's like you said, other camps, Dak Prescott could do the same thing, and they'll downplay it. Somebody else, Joe Burrow, could throw 3 or 4 interceptions in training camp. They gonna downplay it. It's all about who it is, what team it is, and who can generate the best story of negativity.
So you don't believe none of this stuff either. You don't believe that some guys are playing well and some guys are practicing bad.
Oh yeah, practice. Yeah, practice is there to Make
Listen, man.
sure
When
that
Allen Iverson said
can.
practice, you got to roll with that.
Yeah.
So those
When
are
AI said, man, this just practice, man. What you talking about? This just practice. You got to roll with that. But I don't know if you can roll with it with these guys. All of them, for real, to tell you the truth.
You can. So when you're looking at those stats, they're not going out there and just playing a game. They're doing drills. Sometimes they're in red zone drills. Sometimes the coaches want to get a look at certain receivers or defenders, and so they tell the quarterbacks, "We want you to throw the passes here." Like you never know.
No, they're talking about 11 on
11s. People in. Even in 11 on 11, that's when you roll
that's
these
what
things
11s.
out. So just because, like, you don't know what they were doing. They could say, "Hey, we want to see Dylan Gabriel do more of these plays because we saw on film. We didn't know if his footwork is going to get better. Let's put him in this and see how he reacts." Or we're going to give Joe Flacco some easy throws to make where he's not getting touched by the defense. So we don't want him pushing his shoulder deep. You just never know the context.
Yeah, I go with that.
But what you do know is he will play in the preseason game. Him and Dylan Gabriel will both play in that first preseason game. And
y'all know y'all like it though. We like all this. We like it.
I mean,
listen, Cleveland ain't had this much press since who?
Deshaun
Watson. Yeah, that was bad though. That was bad press.
But they were watching him when he was coming back and gearing up after the suspension. They were watching him and they were getting a ton of press. Now, the thing, I mean, I like it, but I kind of don't because, I mean, we're looking at a quarterback battle between two guys who aren't even good enough to start and probably won't be by the end of the year, when we could be going and looking at how quarterbacks in other places are doing. Like, what's Bo Nix looking like during the preseason? He's got a huge second season coming up. I want to see what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. Is this his bust or break year? I think it is. I think it's time for him to show something down there. I want to hear from his teammates and his coaches. Do they have anybody pushing him? If not, why don't they? Like, these are some of the things I want to see.
But America don't want to hear about that. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but America don't want to hear about that. They want to hear the juicy stuff. Now, listen. Well, now, I don't know how true this is, right? Look, I don't know how true this is. I don't think it's true at all, for real, because I be hanging out in the YouTube streets too much. It's a lot of truth going on out there. It's majority lies, and it's a lot of rumors, but it's very intoxicating in the streets of YouTube. So they're talking about the Saints trying to get Shedeur because Carr threw a monkey wrench in their program. Somebody said, "Say, man, that's a nice wrench. Why don't you toss it?" And he tossed it right into the Saints' whole situation, and now they left out in the cold. Now the reason why I think that's hogwash is because I don't think you can just go to Shedeur Sanders and think you're supposed to be saved by something. So I kind of know that's hogwash, but let's just entertain it for a second.
Well, a fan made a song about it.
About Shedeur going to the Saints.
No, the Saints. Period. Like he was fed up. You started.
Yeah.
You see that?
It's the Saints diss track.
God, he cooked them.
I
cooked the Saints.
But if we were to entertain it as if it was real, he would definitely have a more viable chance to get into games and to possibly start a game in New Orleans than in Cleveland. I mean, New Orleans is they're kind of a dumpster fire right now. Yeah. Now, some of that is Derek Carr. His shoulder is just ruined, and so he retired, right? Some of that is Sean Payton left. And when you lose a great coach, your whole stability for your organization goes shortly thereafter. And so I think they're recovering from some of that. I don't think I would want Shedeur to go to that. I think this is a very good spot for him to be in. Joe Flacco is a consummate pro, so he'll teach him about that. He gets Deshaun Watson, so he gets to look and see what he doesn't want to be like. He gets another rookie there who he can kind of, vibe with, compete with, measure himself against in terms of work ethic, etc. And then you've got a journeyman in Kenny Pickett who you could truly measure yourself against because Kenny Pickett will start. And so if you're getting better and better and looking closer and closer to being like him or better, then you're a legitimate starter. Also, he doesn't have the pressure of trying to save the team or the franchise because they're supposed to have other plans. He would be a pleasant surprise. So I think he's in a really good situation to keep his head down, put his headphones on, and grind and become the best version of himself that he can. And I think he's doing the right thing by kind of saying, like, Dad, don't come out here. Let me just work, staying out of the news, keeping his head down. Get that work in, give yourself a year or two, and then you're ready for the cameras and people to come in and to really compete for some of these starting positions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because the Saints, people gonna have bags on their head, man. You don't want to be a quarterback with that, man, with all the brown bags on their head.
Yeah, no, you don't want that. No, I agree with that. I just like entertaining it all. You know, I like all the online arguments, and